Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to start with a mindfulness breathing practice. Can you those those of you who don't know how to do the mindfulness breathing, can you just put it in the chat? Just write up, I don't. Wow, isn't that amazing? That's fantastic. I think I was mentioning, I don't know, to all of you and to the group I was in, that when I started teaching meditation about 20 years ago, you'd only get like 2 or 3 people who could meditate when you started a class. And here it is, everybody's can do the mindfulness of breathing. Does everybody know, while I'm at it then, does everybody know how to do the metta bhavana practice? And if you don't, just write into the chat, I don't. Wow, everybody knows how to do the metta bhavana practice. All right. Patrick doesn't. Okay. Well, we've won. Okay, but everybody else knows how to do the metta bhavana practice. Clean. Oh, a few of them are coming through. Okay, Jane doesn't. Catherine E doesn't. Clean. I'm not sure about that one. Okay. Kay, not sure. Okay, so there's a few of you don't know. Okay, well, we'll do a metta bhavana practice. Carly, I don't. We will do a metta bhavana practice at some stage, and we'll lead you through it. But for now, you don't have to worry about it, because all we're going to do now is the mindfulness of breathing. And I will lead us through the mindfulness of breathing. I won't say loads and loads, because you all know how to do it, but I'll say the important bits, and I'll ring the bells. So if you'd like to get yourself comfortable and set up to meditate, we'll meditate for about 15, 20 minutes, something like that. So it won't be very long. And I'll ring bells for each of the stages. So with this particular version of the mindfulness of breathing, we have, it's in 4 stages. And the first 2 stages are counting stages. So the first stage you count at the out breath. And then the second stage you count with the in breath. And then the third stage, there's no counting. And the fourth stage, it's just the first point of contact that the breath makes with the body. That's where you bring your attention. Okay. But first of all, I invite you to close your eyes. You don't have to close your eyes. You can keep your eyes open if you feel more comfortable that way, but most people find closing their eyes just allows them to turn inwards more fully. And I invite you to let your awareness drop into your body, into your physical experience, your actual physical experience in this moment as you're sitting here in this room, wearing the clothes you're wearing, supported by whatever's supporting you, chair or cushion. So really letting your awareness drop down into your body, giving time and attention to a different type of perception, a type of perception that's going on all the time, but is often, usually, in the background. It's not front and center of our conscious experience. Usually what's front and center is our thinking mind, analyzing, planning, figuring things out. Unless we're involved in body work or have jobs that are very body orientated, most of us need to work quite a bit at allowing this aspect of our ongoing awareness to emerge front and center, which is our physical perceptions. So all that is just feeling into what's there right now. In your feet and legs, your hips, your hands and arms, your belly, your back, your chest, your shoulders, your neck, your head, your face. Being aware of the space you're in, the shape of the room, having some awareness of what's outside the room, the life that continues on, just beyond the walls and windows and doors of the space you are now in. And then bringing your awareness particularly to your breath and the effect the breath is having on your body, on your physical experience, how your body moves as you breathe in and how your body moves as you breathe out. So in a moment, I'm going to ring the bell to start the first stage. And just to recap, so as you breathe out, you count 1. The next time you breathe out, you count 2. The next time 3, and so on to 10. When you get to 10, you return to 1, and you repeat the cycle. And you just keep doing that for the stage. And if and when your mind wanders off, as soon as you become aware it's wandered off, you gently return to the body, physical sensations, and start at 1 again. The mindfulness of breathing. So the second stage, counting with the in-breath. So as you breathe in, you count 1. The next in-breath, 2. The next in-breath, 3. And so on to 10. Then return to 1 and repeat the cycle. And just like the first stage, if and when you lose the count, if and when you lose awareness of your body, of what you're doing, when you regain awareness, just gently coming back to your physical experience and start at 1 again. So the third stage, you drop the count and you're just tuning into the natural rhythm of your breath. So however your body is breathing in this moment, you're being aware of that. So the last stage, bringing your awareness to the first point of contact the breath makes with the body. That'll either be the nostrils and nose, or if your nose is blocked, your lips and mouth. In a minute, I'm going to ring the bell to end the practice. So until then, just letting go of any point of focus. So just letting go of having to do anything, having to be aware of your breath in any particular way. Just letting your mind, your awareness rest, letting it do whatever it wants to do. That might be to stay focused on the breath, or it might be to wander off into a daydream or planning or remembering. Whatever it is fine. So we're just resting for the last moment or two, and then I'll ring the bell to end the practice. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is give a bit of a quick recap on what we covered last week, and then we're going to go into our breakout groups. So yeah, last week we did a body scan, and then we broke into our groups, and we looked at the groups at what freedom means to us. And then I spoke for a bit about some modern ideas, contemporary ideas about freedom, in particular its associations with capitalism and consumerism. And then what it means in the Buddhist tradition, how it's synonymous with enlightenment and unconditional love, and how the Buddha taught the threefold path of ethics, meditation, and wisdom as the way to experience freedom, or vimukti, which is the Buddhist word, fully in one's life. Then our home practice included meditating every day or doing the body scan, and then reading or listening to some of Sangharakshita's talk, The Taste of Freedom, and then reflecting on what could you let go of or do less of to feel freer, and what could you do more of, or what could you do more of to feel freer. So they were the reflections for last week. Okay. So I think what we're going to do now is we'll break into our groups, and we can just discuss how the week went. Use the time. We'll have 15 minutes. We'll be in the same groups. We have a couple of new people, so Louise will have to just divvy the new people into groups, which will be good. Yeah, talk about how the week went. In particular, if you meditated, how that went, and then your reflections on what you could let go of to feel freer, or what could you do more of to feel freer. Did that work? Is it a work in progress? Is it something you're going to take up? Use the group just as a way of sharing all of that, and as a support group for that. Okay, so we'll see you back in 15 minutes. Okay, I think we'll make a start. It's 2 minutes past, and I'm going to hand you over to Visanadeva. He's going to do the second half of the evening. So, Visanadeva.
Thank you. So I'm going to talk more about Vimukti or Vimukti or freedom. So last week, as we heard, Jyotika talked a bit about some modern ideas about freedom and what that means, so that we could kind of see a bit more of our own assumptions. So in a way, I'm kind of going to go even deeper into this again this week, because while most of the time we think about freedom, we're thinking about freedom. So in a way, freedom, we have a certain idea or a concept about what that thing is that we call freedom. But what we're exploring is a very particular thing, which is the taste of freedom. So in this Buddhist text that was mentioned last week, the quote is, just as the many oceans have but one taste, the taste of salt, so too my teaching has but one taste, the taste of freedom. So notice that that the Buddha, in saying that, didn't say has but one thought or concept or idea about freedom. It's taste of freedom. Taste is a very direct and sensuous experience. So our direct experience of something isn't always in line with our direct experience of it. There's an incongruence between how we might think about something and how we directly experience or maybe even taste it. And it may not be what you expect. For example, I may feel like, I feel so trapped. I feel so confined by all the demands and responsibilities of life. I just want to go on holidays. I just want to get away, go on a weekend, chillax, just feel free, just to do whatever I want. And I might book a weekend away in a city. And I used to use that quite a bit. I used to book a weekend in Amsterdam, or go away to Madrid or London or whatever, and just go by myself with no kind of defined itinerary or something. I'm just going to go and I'm going to be free for the weekend. And then you get there and I realize, I still feel constrained. I still feel all the things that I was trying to get away from. It's almost as if I've brought them with me. I'm not free of those things. I still have my own mind. I still take my mind with me wherever I go. And I'm not free of that. I'm still not free of my own mind. So the idea that I might have, I could be doing something really, what you think is totally free. It could be skydiving or something. There's no point in skydiving if, you're thinking about, oh God, I shouldn't have done that thing to that person at that time. You're probably not thinking about that with all the adrenaline, but, just going to extremes. So yeah. And the Buddha himself, he was described as having a metaphysical reticence. This is a kind of scholarly term they used to describe how the Buddha thought. What is meant here is a sort of disinterest in conceptual constructs as an end in themselves that cannot be applied to our direct experience in some sort of way. And there is a strange irony to that, because the Buddhist tradition is kind of known for its intricate and abstruse philosophical and methodological frameworks that have sort of become really synonymous with it. So we have, lists. There's lots of lists in the Buddhist tradition: the Noble Eightfold Path, Four Noble Truths. You're going to find lots and lots of lists if you start looking into Buddhism. But what sometimes we forget is every one of these things is method. They're not there to as an ends in themselves. They're there to help us to do a particular thing, to apply them into our lives, and for us to experience the fruits of them directly. So in the Buddhist tradition, very, very broadly speaking, I want to make if there's any people who are into kind of Buddhist history, I'm going to just cringe at this, but I'm going to very loosely have brushstrokes of three main phases within Buddhist history, particularly Indian Buddhist history, which we call the three yanas. So each of these phases lasted about 500 years, starting about 500 years before the time of Christ. So those first 500 years was called we could call early Buddhism. Sometimes it's used, the word Hinayana is used, which means the lower way, but it has sort of derogatory associations. So we try to not use Hinayana too loosely, but we could just say early Buddhism. This tradition very much took the teachings of the Buddha to heart, particularly as expressed within what's called the Pali Canon, Pali being an ancient Buddhist language. So it was very much taking what was called, say, the Vinaya, the way of life of the Buddha, to heart, and try to use his the word, what he thought as the foundation of that tradition. The next big phase is called the Mahayana, or the Greater Way, or the Great Way. The Mahayana took more of a imaginative approach. So it's re-expressing the teachings and examples of the Buddha, but in a much more imaginative way, expressing them through archetypes. The idea of the Bodhisattva came out in this second yana, the Mahayana. The Bodhisattva being the ideal Buddhist who practices the path of the Buddha for the benefit of all beings, not just for one's own emancipation from suffering. Very loosely speaking, this became quite, again, caught up in the concepts as an ends in themselves. So another re-expression came about called the Vajrayana, or often it's called the Tantra because it came from tantric Indian texts. Again, this is another 500 years later, very loosely, after the coming about of the Mahayana. So the Vajrayana, or the Tantra Buddhist tradition, we probably recognize them mostly as Tibetan Buddhism. So Tibet really embraced this Vajrayanic approach to the Buddha's teaching. And each preceding tradition, each succeeding tradition became overly concerned with re-expressing, reigniting something that they felt was being lost through a sort of over-conceptualization, or getting too caught up in these frameworks as an end in themselves. And the Tantra, or the Vajrayana tradition, is particularly concerned with direct experience of the Buddha's teaching. And because they're so concerned with direct experience, they became very, out of that tradition came very strong images and symbols. And it's one of these symbols in particular we're going to explore tonight. So first of all, I want to differentiate between, or explore a bit more what a symbol is. So a symbol is something, or it's an image that can be understood without the rational mind having to make total sense of it. A symbol does not need any other form of communication to augment its meaning. So a symbol communicates something that cannot be communicated in any other way than the symbol in and of itself. So how would I say that? So basically, a symbol, you can describe what is in a symbol, but you cannot communicate what is in a symbol other than through the thing itself. So this is a bit different from a sign. So our teacher Sangharajita differentiates symbol from sign. So a sign basically gives information, and you can say the same thing through words. So if there's a stop sign on the road, there's a sign to say stop, but well, actually that's a bad example because it literally says stop. Actually, so say a no turn right sign will have a kind of a sign that says don't turn right. And you can also just say don't turn right. It has the exact same information being communicated. But a symbol is something different. A symbol, you could say, you can describe its attributes, you can describe what you see, but that's not communicating what is communicated through the symbol. Only the symbol itself can do that. So to say that what we're going to look at tonight is a symbol of freedom is not to say that me saying freedom means the same thing. Hope that makes some sense. So the Tantra, being particularly concerned with direct experience and a direct experience of freedom, gave rise to this image of the Dakini, a Dakini. So I have a Dakini here behind me on the shrine, but you probably can't, it's probably quite small. I will share an image with the Dakini shortly, but I'll just describe a little bit first, and then we'll enter into it through screen sharing a bit later as well. So Dakini generally is translated as a lady of space or a diamond sky walker. So it's a female figure. And what's meant by a diamond sky walker, so it's kind of a celestial beings, a being that is present in the kind of stratosphere of the world and or imagination in a way. She is depicted as having 3 eyes. So she has the 2 normal eyes and one kind of right here. So this is the Dharma eye that perceives reality. So she's a fully enlightened being. She fully perceives reality. She's totally naked. She has no clothes other than kind of a transparent sort of gown of some sort, but she's naked. And she's totally unashamed of that. She has no shame about it. She's just unabashed in any way. She has a boundless energy. So her posture is that of dancing. So she's kind of hopping around, dancing without any inhibitions. She's totally fearless and wrathful. So her fearlessness is communicated through the fact she wears skulls around her like jewelry. So these symbols of death that usually bring fear, to fear of our own mortality. She just kind of wears them as like a bit of jewelry, basically, which is pretty fierce. And she has this sort of a wrathful smile upon her, a wrathful gaze. The Tantra, the Vajrayana, has a lot of these wrathful figures, but they're not angry or dangerous in the normal sense that we would usually perceive that. It's wrath or anger towards anything that is holding us back, anything that is preventing us from awakening, from true realization. So that the wrathfulness is also expressed in how when she's dancing, as I mentioned, she's stamping on these sort of little figures quite violently. But these little figures are demons that are holding us back from gaining freedom. She's blood red in color. So her whole body is just red, kind of blushing blood red. And in Buddhism, in the Tantra, red is particularly associated with passion. It's kind of a passionate color of usually associated with meditation, love, and eternal life. So she's also drinking out of this cup. So usually she's kind of like this, and she's drinking out of a cup, this red blood liquid, which is called amrita, which is the nectar of eternal life. So red is generally just kind of associated with all those things, but particularly eternal life and passion. She lives in the cremation ground, which is the cremation ground in the Tantra is also a symbol in and of itself. It symbolizes the challenges we face in life that if we lean into, and are creative around, we let go of some part of ourselves, and in that letting go of some part of ourselves to be able to respond creatively to this problem or this challenge, something new arises in us. We grow bigger, and we become a new being. So in some ways, we're sort of reborn because of how we creatively respond with this. And the cremation ground is where the Dakini lives. So the Dakini is the tantric symbol, or the Vajrayana symbol of what freedom is. She is how they express freedom. And isn't that strange? So this is where I'm going to show you something. So I'm going to share my screen. So here we go. So I went onto a stock photo website, and I put in freedom. And these are the sort of things you get, like, you know, a lot of kind of arms up like this and kind of that kind of thing. So this is, when I thought about freedom, I saw these images even before I searched. You know, it's kind of like, oh yeah, freedom is that. You know, we kind of have this association with what freedom is about. This is, in a way, a sort of a cliche. But the Buddhist tradition says that this is what freedom looks like. The Dakini. So here we have the image of the red, fierce, wrathful Dakini, as I had described. So, yeah, so what I'm going to do is actually, let me just get my notes up. Yeah, so you're not going to find this kind of image on a stock photo website, as I've just illustrated, but this is in some way communicating freedom. So what does this tell us about freedom from a Buddhist perspective? So how can this image, or this symbol, help us to identify the taste of freedom in our lives? It seems very, very strange that this image is communicating something about freedom. So what I'm going to do is to invite us now to go into a short reflection about this, just to see what our initial responses are. This is a very strong image. You know, we have, it's not what we usually associate with freedom. So it'd be good to kind of explore this in a more reflective, meditative way. So whenever you're ready to get into a meditation posture, and I'm going to lead us through a little short visualization, so to speak. So just closing your eyes. And just noticing any sensations in your body. Notice finding the contact with the floor, the solidity of the floor, giving your posture a solid foundation. Noticing the movement of your breath. Notice any unpleasant sensations. And just letting them be, not pushing them away. Notice any pleasant sensations. Sensations of relaxation. Not grasping after those. Just bringing awareness to them. Notice anywhere in the body where there's neither pleasant nor unpleasant sensation. And just try to bring some more awareness to those neutral areas. Notice our emotional state. And notice if we are lost in our thoughts, or can we hold our thoughts in awareness, just letting them pass by. And now imagine we are seated amidst a clear blue sky. Clear blue in all directions. No limit. No end point. It's deep, clear blue in all directions. And then just noticing a figure flying through the sky. It is a naked red figure, female figure. Her long black hair is streaming out behind her. Her face is uplifted in ecstasy. There is a smile on her lips. She is a Dakini, a lady of space. the embodiment of the spiritual energy of the Buddha. She is absolutely free, free to fly in any direction. North, south, east, west, the zenith and the nadir. She is free even to remain still. Hers is the liberty of infinite space. She enjoys the taste of freedom. So slowly just letting the image of the Dakini and the clear blue sky in all directions to dissolve. And coming back again to our body. Connection with the floor, movement of our breath. And just for the last few moments, noticing our own impression, response to the image of the Dakini. And when we're ready, slowly bringing back movement, opening our eyes, coming back. Okay. So now we're going to return to our breakout groups where we can just discuss, we can each say something about what our initial responses are to the image of the Dakini and what we might be thinking about it. Yeah, so that's what the question, I thought it'd be, one question would be enough for tonight. What is our initial response to the Dakini? So Louise, whenever you're ready, if you could get the groups going again.
And how long will they run for, President?
Oh, sorry, yes, they'd be 10 minutes.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, yep. So I hope that breakout group gave you an opportunity to just express what your initial response is. And I just hope, generally speaking, that my presenting the Dakini to you guys today has sort of undermined any sort of assumptions or kind of cliched ideas about what freedom could mean for you guys. So to even open up what freedom means for you in a more free kind of way almost. So hopefully the Dakini has helped you guys to do that.